Hello guys, this is your boy Obi-Wan. Welcome to my channel. Today I will do a quick preview on the round of 16 of the African Cup of Nations starting on Friday, July the 5th. The round of 16 fixtures will kick off with Morocco versus Benin Republic, which is somewhat a tricky tie. I know most people must have written of the Beninois, but I believe this competition has proven that there are no minnows in African football. We saw what Madagascar did to Nigeria in the group stages. But looking at what they have, looking at what the Moroccans have achieved so far, and still maintaining a 100% record, you'd definitely give it to them to progress beyond the round of 16. So the record in the group stages was really decent. They won 3 games, they didn't concede any goal, and they scored 3 goals in the process, which is really okay. They got the job done. And for a Hervé Renard side, a coach who I consider as one of the best in African football, and who has won this competition on 2 occasions with Zambia in 2012 and with Ivory Coast in 2015. And then you should slightly tip the Moroccans to get the job done this time around as well. Well, looking at Benin Republic, they've not been convincing in the group stages. They got to this stage as one of the best losers, drawing 3 of their group fixtures, but still unbeaten. So that's something to be wary about. I think the Moroccans would have to be clinical and finish this game on time if they need to stand any chance of progressing beyond the round of 16. So their records shows that they've scored 1 goal in all their games. So this time, for them to finally defeat the Beninois, I think they need to score at least 2 goals to kill off the tie. So Morocco to progress, hands down. Okay, so the next one is Uganda and Senegal. Another tricky game. A tricky game in the sense that the Ugandans, the Cranes of Uganda, have really made a significant progress in their style of play, judging from what they've done in the qualifying series down to the Nations Cup. You have to give them credit. The Senegalese, one of the favorites to win this competition. They've not done badly so far. They finished second in the group. And if you ask me, they would edge this game just a little bit, considering the stars they have in their team. We're talking about the likes of Sadio Mane and Keita Balde, who plays for Inter Milan. So looking at how both teams set up and their style of play, you would slightly fancy the Senegalese to edge this one comfortably. So Senegal to win and join Morocco in the quarterfinals. Now moving on to what I have dubbed the classic. It's a very cagey tie. We're talking about Nigeria versus Cameroon, 3-time winners against the defending champions who have won the competition on 5 occasions. So the Super Eagles have not been convincing in this competition. I have to tell you that they managed to they struggled against Burundi, and found it difficult to, beat Guinea, and they suffered a heavy blow or a shocking result against Madagascar, the debutants. So that's something that one should be wary of. I mean, the Nigerian fans should be concerned about the way Gennat Rowe has set up the team in the last two games. So I think on the part of looking at Cameroon, a new team, defending champions, with a new coach whose knowledge of the game is quite vast. We actually understand that he's a young coach, but what he's done so far with the Cameroonians has been impressive, and you would expect them to continue that run from the group stages in the knockout round. I've always said that Cameroon are one of the best footballing sides when it comes to knockout football. When it comes to elimination, especially in African football. And it's going to be a very difficult one to decide. The history between these two sides in African football has been very long. Cameroon beating Nigeria in 1988 and in 2000, denying them two Nations Cup titles. It's still a very difficult and a hard one to swallow for most of the Nigerian fans. I think the last time they met in the Nations Cup, Nigeria edged it slightly with JJ Okocha and John Otaka scoring in that game to give the Nigerians a 2-1 win. And in recent times, the Super Eagles have edged it as well. And the 4-0 win in the FIFA World Cup qualifiers is a testimony to that. But looking at this competition itself, I slightly fancy the Cameroonians to win the Super Eagles. I feel my heart keeps saying, okay, the Super Eagles, but my mind is going for Cameroon. So Cameroon to win. Yeah, Cameroon to win. So Cameroon to win. And moving on to the next game, Egypt versus South Africa. Egypt versus South Africa, well, the host nation, another team with a decent record, 100% record, yet to lose, yet to concede a goal. Mohamed Salah hitting form at the right time, scoring the goals at the right time. The goals are coming from all the departments in the Egyptian national team. South Africa got to this stage as one of the best losers. Well, on paper you'd tip Egypt to just go through, rightly so. But remember, this is the elimination stage. Anything can happen. We've seen teams set up defensively and defend it till 90 minutes and even extra time and eliminate teams on spot kicks. And you can't rule out that when it comes to African football, a team may decide to defend all through, but would the South Africans do that? Do they have the quality? Do they have the tactical nous to edge out the Egyptians? I think no, because the Egyptians, as the host nations, will have more than enough to eliminate these guys. The Bafana Bafana of South Africa, 1996 winners. It's going to be a shocker if South Africa eventually stops the host nation from going to the last 8. I feel they have that quality. They have the 12th man behind them, so Egypt should comfortably qualify against South Africa. So guys, another tricky one in Madagascar versus Democratic Republic of Congo. Wow, Madagascar. These guys, I'm impressed with these debutants. I never gave them a chance in this competition. I felt they would be eliminated in the group stages, but they proved me wrong. Beat the Super Eagles, beat Burundi, secured a draw against Guinea. That shows you how formidable this team is. So they finished as group winners, which is actually shocking. And you know, in most competitions where the newcomers, in most competitions, newcomers always try to make a statement, and these guys have made that statement against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We're all waiting to see if they can replicate that form against the Congolese. But what we need to know as well is that Congo is also a formidable team in African football. They've won this competition twice. They didn't start well. They suffered a defeat in the first game, and also in their second game, but somehow managed to get everything right in the last group match where they smashed the Zimbabweans 4-0 to emerge as one of the best losers. So it's a very hard one to call, guys. I think this may be just one of those games the best losers may emerge or progress to the last 8, if you ask me. I think what the Congolese need to do is to replicate the form that they showed against Zimbabwe. If they can just turn up against the Madagascans the same way they played against Zimbabwe, I think they will have more than enough to qualify. Yeah, I think they will. The Madagascars as well have proven that they could defend. If you watch that game against Nigeria, how they set up after scoring the first and the second goal, you would have to give them credit. So it all depends. I think this would slightly tilt to who scores first. If Madagascar would eventually score first in this game, then why not? You would fancy them to progress because defensively they are a solid unit. So that's it for Madagascar and Congo. I think I would give them the benefit of the doubt. I would tip Madagascar to progress beyond this stage. So the next one is the Desert Foxes of Algeria against the Silly National of Guinea. Another North African side facing a West African team. Algeria has been one of the high flyers in this competition. I never expected them to turn up this way this time around, but they have shown that they have what it takes to go all the way to win this competition. 3 games, 9 points, no goals conceded, scored 6 goals. Really, really amazing. Well, the Guineans on their own part left it late, drew their first game against Madagascar, lost to Nigeria, and managed to beat Burundi. I think they won that game, I think 3-1 or 3-0, thereabout, not too certain. So the Desert Foxes of Algeria, like I said, a fast-paced team. They have already faced one of the giants in African football in Ivory Coast, beat them 1-0, was a very close encounter. And if they can replicate their form in the same way they did against South Africa and Ivory Coast, then I think they'll comfortably go through against Guinea. Yeah, because the Guineans are missing one of their key players in Naby Keita. I don't know if he'll be fit for that game, but I think you should fancy them. You should fancy the Desert Foxes to go through. So Algeria to beat Guinea in this encounter. So the next game would be a West African derby between Mali and Ivory Coast. I mean, a very, very tough game. It's going to be a very, very difficult clash, difficult one to call because, well, these guys are really strong. These are two strong teams. The Malians have actually surprised me in this competition. I didn't give them that chance, but what they've done in the group stages shows that on their day they can defeat any team. You may say they didn't have any stiff opposition. They had Angola, they had Tunisia in that group, and they managed to qualify. So one has to give them credit. Well, but facing the Ivorians, who really have pace in that team, with the likes of Wilfred Zaha and Nicolas Pepe of Lille, you would feel that it's going to be a very hard one to call. Probably may end up in extra time or penalties. But one thing with the Ivorians is that they have met some difficult oppositions as well, and the way they've handled themselves in those games shows that on their day they could equally beat any team. But against Mali, who have the same, almost practically the same style of football, it's just going to take one moment of brilliance to make the differences in this game. So I would slightly go for an Ivory Coast win in this encounter. So guys, the last but not the least is the game between Ghana and Tunisia. A very difficult one to call as well, because it's another tie between the North African and the West African side. I mean, whenever teams from these regions meet, it's always a very difficult contest. But looking at what the Ghanaians have done, topping the group on the last day, on goal difference ahead of Cameroon, you know, 2 draws in the group stages and 1 win. In contrast to the Tunisians, who haven't won any game so far. They've drawn their 3 games. You'll be asking yourself the question, where would the confidence come from? They actually don't know what a win feels like currently. So you would fancy the Ghanaians to just edge this one, and rightly so, because they have the team, they have the squad. We're talking about the Ayew brothers, you know, who have been clinical in front of goal, alongside a decent midfield with Thomas Partey. At the back, you have Kwadwo Asamoah doing a good job. So, Achu, it would be a very big miss for them, because I think he's been ruled out of the competition entirely. So, I'll slightly go for a Ghana win. Yeah, Ghana should win this one. It's going to be tough to eliminate a North African team, but I think they should fancy their chances in this one. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's the end. I'd like you guys to drop your comments below. Remember, these are just my predictions. In football, anything can happen. Football is not mathematics. I'm just giving you my own views, and I feel these teams that predicted may slightly edge it, but all the same, anything can happen. Yeah, so don't forget to subscribe and click the bell notification for subsequent videos. See you next time, guys.